Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome on this beautiful summer evening. You very brave people who came out. We're so happy that we can be together outside, sort of, but still protected from the elements. So let's join together in a song to welcome Shabbat. Hine ma tovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad. How good it is for all of us to be together this Shabbat. Hine ma tovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad. 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 Hine ma tovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Welcome to our Ohel Moed, our tent of meeting. And welcome to all those who are with us as well. Turn around and look at the camera and wave, everybody, so they can see you. So we are happy you're with us, whether you're here in person under our warm, under our, I would say warm and dry, under our dry tent. We are celebrating Shabbat together. Look around you, and if you see someone you don't recognize, don't shake hands, but just say hello to them. And socially distant, introduce yourself so we're not praying together as strangers. Welcome. We're so glad you're here. And we're going to come back. Enough of this chit-chat. We have work to do. That's actually the most important work. Yeah, you can type everything you want on Facebook. I'm Rabbi Joe Black. I'm the senior rabbi, and with me is...
I'm Steve Brodsky. I'm the Cantorial Soloist and music director.
What was your other
here.
title that you gave yourself today?
Tent putter-upper.
Tent putter-upper. That was it. Tent fixer.
Tent fixer. I'm going to be up on the ladder fixing
Steve,
the
we're
little
wearing...
pinholes
Do you notice
next
we're
week.
wearing the same kippah?
We are.
Yeah, let's see that.
We are. It must be a bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah that we
it was a while
officiated
ago.
at together.
Something like that. Anyway, we are very, very, very happy. And Steve, who's going to help us light candles tonight?
We are going to invite Eliana Carr and her family to come forward.
Her immediate family.
Her immediate family.
There's a lot of family here, I see.
Because Eliana is celebrating becoming a bat mitzvah tomorrow morning. And her sister Callie celebrated just a little over a year ago. Was one of our first virtual b'nai mitzvah. So, are you ready?
This is a test. If you don't know how to use it, you pass the test. That's it. Good job.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner
guys can go sit down.
We'll have you back up at the end of the service.
Well, you're not done yet. You're not done yet. And so we continue. There are days. Let that sit for a while. When we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. Join with me, please. On Shabbat, we seek not to acquire, but to share. There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted. On Shabbat, we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation. There are days when we act as if we cared nothing for the rights of others. On Shabbat, we remember that justice is our duty and a better world our goal. And so we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace. You know, we've heard many times over the course of the past almost 16, 17 months now that people came to Shabbat services online and felt a sense of peace descend because they knew there was something part of bigger than themselves when they were alone in their homes. We welcome Shabbat with joy, with love. We welcome Shabbat like we welcome a wedding. So we sing, Lecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabla. Come, let us welcome Shabbat like a bride. And let's sing together, all of us. Lecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad
physically, or if you're at home, you can rise spiritually and face the entrance to our worship space, your worship space this evening, wherever you feel is the appropriate place to welcome the Shabbat bride. Boi v'shalom, ateret balak, gam b'simcha. Standing for the Baruch Hu, our call to worship. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai.
Let me dance in the sky with prayer and blessing for the ones I love, raising these hopes to the gates of heaven together.
Let me sing among the stars with mystery and magic for the holiness around us, raising these dreams to the gates of redemption.
For there is music in the dawn and blessings at dusk, a radiance of glory, carrying our voices beyond the firmament to the one who created all being.
Source and shelter, you set the course of sun and moon, bringing on the evening twilight, calling forth time and space with majesty and wonder.
Blessed are you, soul of the universe, summoning the heavens, declaring the reign of holiness together. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. Blessed are you, Adonai,
who brings on the evening. Yisrael Amcha Ahavta. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love and unending love. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Ahavta. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love and unending love.
In each age, we receive and transmit Torah. At each moment, we are addressed by the world together. In each age, we are challenged by our ancient teaching. At each moment, we stand face to face with truth. In each age, we add our wisdom to that which has gone before. At each moment, the knowing heart is filled with wonder. In each age, the children of Torah become its builders, and we seek to set the world firm on a foundation of truth. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel.
Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Ahavta. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love and unending love. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Ahavta. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love and unending love. Open up our eyes, teach us how to live, fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one. And we will know that you are one. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Bavakasha Lashevet, please be seated.
Let's join together in chanting Ve'ahavta. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Who is like you, God of mystery and majesty, distant and present, thundering and quiet, the beginning and the end, the atom and the cosmos, the darkness and the light together, the one and the all, pillar and foundation, artist of sea and sky, author of the miraculous and the mundane, source of life, blessing and sustaining creation. Who is like you, glorious in holiness, to whom we give praise, to whom we give thanks. The God who redeemed us from Egypt, God who parted the sea, the God to heal miracles.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא Who is like you? Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? When Moses and the children crossed the sea, they sang to you with songs of joy. Who is like you, Adonai? מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות, עושה פלא, נורא תהילות, עושה פלא.
Thus it is said, Adonai redeemed Jacob from a hand stronger than his own. Praised are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Baruch atah Adonai Gaal Yisrael. God, thank you for joy and delight, for wonder and awe, for moments of gladness and celebration. Grant me the ability to breathe gentleness into my hours and seasons so that I live awake to beauty, to holiness, to the radiance that surrounds us. Together, grant me the wisdom to arrive each day with passion and humor, with song and dance, with smiling eyes, in service to myself, in service to others, in service to your holy name. Prayer is at the heart not only of great religion, but of significant living. Without prayer, we cannot scale the heights of compassion or reach the peaks of love our neighbor, of which we are called and capable together. Prayer is a step on which we rise from the self we are to the self we wish
to be.
Prayer affirms the hope no reality can crush, the goal that can never acknowledge defeat. Prayer is not an escape from duty. It is no substitute for the deed. Prayer seeks the power to do wisely, to act generously. It helps to reinforce the act rather than replace it. Prayer is the search for silence in the midst of life.
Our prayers are answered not when we are given what we ask, but when we are challenged to be what we can be.
We rise as we are able.
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Ufi yagid tehilatecha Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei hakol, v'zocher chastei avot ve'imahot, u'mevi geula livnei v'neihem, leman shemo be'ahava, melech ozer u'moshia u'magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham v'ezrat Sarah. Ata gibor le'olam Adonai, mechaye hakol ata rav lehoshia, morid hatal, mechalkel chayim bechesed, mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, somech noflim v'rofeh cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato lishenei afar, michamocha ba'al gevurot, umidom elach, melech memit umechaye, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman ata lehachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, mechaye hakol. Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yehalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
B'vakasha lashevet, please be seated. We now turn to a moment before we go into our own silent prayer where we offer this Mishaberach, this prayer for healing on behalf of members of our congregation, our community on this Shabbat. We are thinking about the community of Arvada. We are thinking about the families of those with loved ones who were injured in Miami at the Champlain Tower collapse. And so in between the two verses, we'll be reading a list of names. But if there are other names that are not on this list, that are in your hearts, people for whom God's blessing, a blessing of healing, a blessing of hope is needed, say their names, say them out loud, write them in the chat, those of you watching online, so that all of us might ask for God's healing presence on their behalf as we pray together.
Tonight we hold in our hearts and in our prayers Zachary Hoffman, David Karner, David Lustig, David Goldenberg, Stuart Myers, Catherine Plus, Jean Silber, Scott Englender, Stacy Hoffman, Corey Franklin, Brian John Miller, DMD, Phyllis Schulman, Eric Dellenbach, Becky Mitchell, Samuel Ryder, Jeffrey Karras, Hal Malin, Sandra Cook, Jim Estevy, James Tepper, Cheryl Lunning, Debbie Levy, Donald Gross, Christina Clark, Raymond Bell, Shanti Hazan, Howard Rosenberg, Deborah Alenikoff, Alex Buznovetsky, Ellie Greenberg, Lori Goldman, Jamie Eidelberg, Larry Ambrose, Mike Kabuti, Laura Culver, Sylvia Goodman, Jerry Luckton, Elaine Wolf, Cindy Friedland, Josh Hepner, Jared Siegel, Ernie Stone, and these others. Baruch atah Adonai, Rofeh HaCholim. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings healing to those in need.
We take a moment now as we move away from others' words to find those prayers imprinted in our hearts as we look within. There to find God, and we pray in silence.
Ki atah
טסים לעולם, טסים
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
So I want to say a couple words about this week's Torah portion, Balak. First of all, welcome to our tent. In Hebrew, the word for tent is ohel. I talked about this is our ohel moed, our tent of meeting. And in the Torah, Moses meets with God in the ohel moed, the tent of meeting. And in this week's Torah portion, Balak, we encounter this word, ohel, in the words of the pagan prophet Bilam, who is tasked with cursing the Israelites by the Midianite king Balak, but he blesses them instead with the words, Matovu ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. How goodly are your tents, O Jacob, your mishkanim, your dwelling places, O Israel. Now, ohalecha, your tents, is connected with Jacob, and mishkenotecha, and the word mishkan, it means your mishkan. And mishkan is a word that we're familiar with if we've studied the book of Exodus or Leviticus at all, because that is God's indwelling place. That's the mishkan is what we built to be a house for God. So Jacob is connected with tents, and Yisrael, who is also Jacob, but who is also all of us, is connected with the Mishkan, the place where God dwells. Now, if you think about it, a tent, with the exception of maybe this one, is a small, solitary, you go camping, 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 people. But a Mishkan, so this, we maybe should call this the Mishkan rather than the Ohel Moed, I don't know, we'll have to figure it out, is a sanctuary. It's a dwelling place. It is a communal place where we come together in person or virtually. Jacob, in his evolution, evolves from being a solitary individual. We learn about Jacob the trickster, Jacob the one who deceives his father, Jacob who is deceived by his sons later on. And he evolves to becoming Yisrael, one who struggles with God, one who is a nation. And the Torah describes him in the beginning, in his early formation, in contradiction or contradistinction to his brother Esau, as a simple man. They call him a Yoshev Ohalim, a dweller in tents. Esau, on the other hand, is an Ish Sadeh, a man of the field, but eventually he does become Yisrael, one who struggles with God and the father of a great nation. So each year that I'm honored with the opportunity to say a few words on this parsha, I'm also going to be teaching about it tomorrow morning, Balak, I try to look at Bilam's blessing from a different perspective. And this year, in particular, I think the blessing has a very, very powerful message for us. When we look at the distinction between individuality and community. To be a strong community, we need to provide everyone with an opportunity to be themselves, to celebrate the uniqueness of their own ohel, their own tent, but in the context of, say, a campground. But we also need to support the entirety of what it means to be a community. Our mishkan, our sacred place, our communal spaces must be strengthened by a desire to work together, to pray together, to build together, to compromise, and to grow together. I remember when I was an undergraduate many, many years ago studying human psychology, and I came across the work of a psychologist named Elizabeth Klein. Has anybody heard of Elizabeth Klein? I don't think so. She's not well known, but she is well known in a certain small segment of the psychological community called the Tavistock community. And the Tavistock community comes together to understand how groups work together. And her thesis, which is a fascinating one, is that the group is like a mother, bear with me, or let's say a parent. She wrote mother, I'm going to say parent. And she tried to understand why it was that people tended to have love-hate relationships with the concept of belonging to a large group. She saw how individuals tended to regress into childish behavior in group settings. They'd say things, they'd do things in a group setting that they would never do on a one-to-one or an individual. And her theory was that being part of a community brought about the same feelings that an infant or child, she wrote, felt about their mother, their parent. On the one hand, there's a great fear when you're in a group of being excluded, abandoned, of being left out. On the other hand, there's a fear of being swallowed up by the whole and losing your individuality. And so these dual feelings, abandonment and a loss of individuality, cause people to regress because they're the same feelings developmentally that an infant fears. You fear that you're going to be swallowed up and lose yourself, or you're going to be abandoned. Both of these are fears. And so because we feel these same type of feelings in a group setting, we regress. We say things we don't think we should say. We do things that we normally wouldn't do. Now, these past months of COVID have taught us and shown us both the power of community and the pain of loss. When we were forced to sit alone in our own ohalim, our own tents at home, we simultaneously felt both safe and isolated. We felt alone and we craved community. We were afraid that we were going to be abandoned by our community and lose touch. And we've learned how to use technology to compensate for our aloneness, and it has been powerful. As I talked about earlier, the number of times people have said to us how important it was that we were able to keep praying and keep worship going, and we spent a lot of time working at it, was very important to many. But even the best streamed Zoom, Facebook, live stream service cannot compare to the sound of our voices coming together, the sound of song rising through the roof of our Ohel Moed to the heavens. And we've also learned a very important lesson. We can't be all things to all people. That's impossible. And it's ultimately self-defeating. One of the essential components of creating sacred community is accepting that we are diverse and that we have divergent taste and divergent needs, but that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Our task as a congregation is to provide people with the ability to flex their spiritual muscles in as much of an individualized manner as possible, letting your individual approaches to congregational participation through worship, education, social action, life cycle be celebrated widely. Where we have this wonderful small groups initiative. Sarah, raise your hand. That Sarah Brown, our incredible adult engagement director, is coordinating to give people different portals of entry into Temple Emanuel. So it doesn't matter what you're interested in. If you want to create a small group, you're going to be hearing a lot more about this in the weeks and months to come. But Sarah is our small group guru. You've never been called a guru before, have you, Sarah? Well, you are now Guru Sarah. But, there are things that, at the same time, we have to stress that we are a congregation. We need to work and pray together. We have to be firm about what we stand for as a congregation and as a people. So as much as we want to have a portal for everybody, there might be some people who don't find their exact entry point. And yet, being together, as is evidenced by everyone here tonight, everyone here online, shows that there's a need that we have to come together. There's this idea, I think I just lost a page of my sermon. There it is. Good. No, I didn't. Okay, good. In Judaism, we talk about the minyan. I ask every bar mitzvah student that I work with, do you know what a minyan is? And I say, it's not a little yellow man. A minyan is a group of 10 Jewish adults. And you need 10 Jewish adults to pray together, to be able to worship together, to be able to read Torah, to say. And, there are times when whether I'm leading the service or participating in the service, I don't feel like praying. There are actually times when I don't feel like praying. But I do know that I need to come because there are people who need me to be there, to be counted, to help them be counted. They may need to say Kaddish. They may need to see a friendly face. So that's why we come, even if we're not fully, now you got to wear pants to come to services. That's not fair, right? But at least, never mind. I'm gonna let that go. But I'm part of something greater than myself. We all are. And if we realize that we want to be counted on, we ourselves must be counted. We may not feel ready to pray, but others are counting on us to be here with and for them. And that's one of the reasons we come. And every one of us, here, online, wherever we are, we need to find our own ohel, our own tent. And we see it as tov, matova. We need to see it as good. And we also need to be able to celebrate the fact that we're part of a dynamic and a thriving community. And so tonight, as we come together into our tent, we are creating a mishkan, a place where God's Shekhinah, God's indwelling presence lives. I can feel God here tonight. I can feel it as I look at some of you I haven't seen in a long time. Some of us have grown facial hair. Some of us have lost some weight. It's good to see you. And that binds us together. And it's not just the beauty of the evening. It stopped raining. It's not just the prayers that are sung and recited, but because all of us, those in person and those join us virtually through our live stream, are dedicated to creating a Kihila Kedosha, a sacred community. We take all of our ohalim, all of our tents, and we create a beautiful mishkan, and it is good. Matovu ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. How goodly are your tents, O Jacob, your dwelling places, O Israel. Shabbat. Shalom. Let's sing Matovu. Now, normally Matovu is not sung at an evening service, but we're going to tonight. Sing that again.
We rise together as we are able, either physically or spiritually, for Aleinu. Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula leotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kigoye haratzot, shelo samanu kemishpechot ha'adama, shelo Sam chelkeinu kahen v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam v'anachnu
Our thoughts now turn to those who have departed this earth. Our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. And as we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. On this Shabbat, we remember Officer Gordon Beasley and John Hurley, who were taken this past week in the shooting in Arvada. We remember Florence Barretts, Fritz Friedland, Meyer or Jim Miller, Arlene Raab, Walter Weinberg, and Charles Zandel, who were taken from us in the previous 30 days. We link to their names those whose yahrzeit, the anniversary of whose death occurs at this time: Emanuel Ambrose, Max Anfenger, Sarah M. Atler, Bessie E. Blecker, Tilly Heitler Bloom, Solomon Brooks, Marion M. Kahn, Helen Burke Friedman, Harry H. Frumas, Lillian Gelt, Jody Goodman, Norman J. Gray, Carrie C. Greenberg, Thelma Weiner Height, Leonard Julian Heller, Matthew Aaron Hepner, Marshall Hornstein, Alexander R. Hurwitz, Jack Jacobs, Isham Jesselson, Gladys Carlsberg, Philip W. Kawin, Stephen Mark Kelney, Anna B. Klingstein, Sophie Konigsberg, Tilly Kramish, Louis Kramish, Jeff Krasnow, Edward H. Kreisman, William Lasky, Norman Levin, Ferdinand Levy, Mandel Levy, Joseph L. Mann, Ruth Melliker, Milton Pratt, William Rosen, Paul Rosen, Derek Rudofsky, Kurt Rushin, Dennis Sari, Anna Schenkine, Molly Annette Schwader, Arnold Silverman, Edward L. Spiegelman, Norman B. Spitzer, Selma Stein, Dina Spivak Strauss, Edward Sollett, Ann Tepper, Rose Todorovsky, Esther Schofferman Zinberg, Sally Wenger, Martha Weicker, Beatrice Baum-Weil, Lisa Gale Wigged, Simon Wigged, Bertha H. Junker, William Zoll, Judith Zederman. We remember 10 of Colene's 420, Dr. František Brown, Josef Brown, Max Brown, Ota Brown, Irina Braunova, Helena Braunova, Jan Brezhina, Olga Brezhinova, Emily Brezhinova, and Karl Brunner. I ask if there are other names for whom Kaddish is being said. You may write them in the chat or say them out loud as our eyes meet. Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be for an eternal blessing. At this time, I ask if you have lost a loved one in the previous 30 days to please rise now as you are able. If you are observing a yahrzeit, the anniversary of a death on this Shabbat, please rise now as you are able. And if you are in the 11 months of mourning since the loss of a loved one, please rise now as you are able. Now in solidarity, let us all rise as we can, physically or spiritually, as together we recite ancient words of the mourner's Kaddish. Yit gadal ve'yit kadash shemei rabba, bi'alma divra chirutei ve'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קרי, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשא בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. Yehi shlama rabba min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen, oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. And may the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort all who are bereaved here among us, wherever they may be. And let us say, Amen.
Oseh shalom, shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen.
Please be seated for a moment. So there's a lot happening here. First of all, I was supposed to say this is the beginning of the service, but for all future services and for the rest of the evening, in case of emergency or unexpected weather, I'm required to do this. We ask that everyone please calmly go through the great street glass doors. Please do not go through the sanctuary, but that doesn't seem to be a problem, so I'll say it in the beginning of the service next week. Tomorrow, our Shabbat schedule is as follows. First of all, streamed to our Temple Emanuel Denver Facebook page and to Channel 1 on our website at 9:30 a.m. Torah study. I'll be teaching more about Parashat Balak. And then at 11 o'clock, community service with these two faces again. And also streamed to Channel 2 and Temple Emanuel B'nai Mitzvah Facebook page, the Bat Mitzvah of Eliana Carr. Mazel Tov, with Rabbi Hyatt and Cantor Sachs. And then at 11:30, the Bat Mitzvah of Zoe Zucker, also with Rabbi Hyatt and Cantor Sachs. So we had our first vaccination clinic here tonight, and there will be a second one on July 16th. That's for shot number 2. But if you also want to get shot number 1, you can do that as well, from 4:30 to 6 o'clock p.m. It is the Pfizer vaccine. We want to make sure that every member of our community, or any community, has an opportunity to receive the vaccine. We're very, very grateful that we were able to do this tonight and look forward to doing it on July 16th as well. Our Melton Adult Education starts June 30th. It's a 6-week class, and it's called Members of the Tribe with Rabbi Mark Gittler. I'm told it's sold out. Is that correct? So you missed the boat if you didn't do it on time, but next time, keep watching. We are so grateful to the Ritvo family for endowing this program. The Melton Education Program is a world-renowned way to learn and study on a very high level, and we will be continuing to be a Melton sponsoring community. Our community is growing as in-person experiences. Yay! Shabbat registration will continue. Look for forms in the e-notes. Look at our website. You're welcome to come every week. You don't have to skip weeks. Just let us know that you're coming. And we're going to continue to review the policies throughout the summer. So who knows what our policies are going to be. If it keeps going in this direction, they could change. That is up to the wise counsel of our reopening task force, and we are following their counsel very, very carefully. Check our Facebook page, Temple Emanuel Denver. Check our website. Check our e-notes for all kinds of upcoming events. I think it's time to do Kiddush and Motzi.
It is time. Eliana, if you will please join us up here. Come stand over here next to me.
You can see it over there. Go ahead and just
take that, hold it up high, and don't be surprised if he...
Oh, just talk. Just
Let's join together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodesho be'ahava u'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh Zecher litziat Mitzrayim. Kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen.
Chaim.
L'chaim. Let's see if this is wine or grape juice. I don't know.
I think it smells like wine to me.
You don't have to drink
You don't
it
have
if you
to
don't want
drink
to.
it. You really don't.
All right. Thank you, Eliana. Get
Very
a good
much.
night's sleep tonight.
Have a good breakfast tomorrow.
Yeah, eat protein in the morning. It's a long morning. And we'll see you bright and early.
And we have two very shvach challahs, but it's because we're not going to be sharing them, so we're not ready yet. Yeah, not so much. Okay.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. We will end tonight with a classic, Adon Olam. Hang on.
G-string.
Let's just sing. Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra ve'ed nasa b'chetzo kol asai melech shemo nikra ve'acharei kichlot hakol levado yimloch nora ve'hu haya ve'hu hoveh ve'hu yiyeh b'tifara ve'hu echad ve'ein sheni lehamshilo lehachbira ve'li reshit ve'li tachlit ve'lo ha'oz ve'ha'misra ve'hu eli ve'chai go'ali ve'tzur chevli ve'et sara ve'hu nisi umanos li ve'nat kosi ve'yom ekra ve'yado avkid ruchi ve'tishan ve'achlira ve'im ruchi keviati Adonai li ve'lo ira ve'lo ira.
Please rise for our closing prayer. Eloheinu ve'Elohei kol dorotenu, our God of every generation, those generations past, those yet to be, we've come together on this Shabbat to converge our individual tents into a mishkan, and we look at each other, we look in each other's eyes, into each other's hearts, and we see it's tov, we see that it is good. God, we ask your blessing on this congregation, on this mishkan. May we always find your presence, even when we don't feel like coming. But we need to be here for one another. And so we ask your blessing. We say, Matovu ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael. How goodly are your tents, O Jacob, your dwelling places, O Israel. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Turn around and wave to everybody online. Shabbat Shalom. Thanks for coming.